Okay. So let's make the actual travel over to Orton here. And this is where we are expecting to find our Nilfgaardian friends. Nope, you're over this way. And in theory, we negotiated this price in advance, right? What? Okay. Timing of you unsheathing your sword made me feel like you were about to fight us, which I was a little taken aback. Did not have reason to believe you had reason to try to fight us, but
What brings you here?
Well, I mean, the job is done. You hired me.
Hear about the missing patrol. Been to byways. A vampire was terrorizing the village.
This is why they did not return.
Correct. Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Ekimari are tough, even for a group of soldiers.
We will bury them with honors, as heroes. Your reward, well deserved.
Thanks. How much was it exactly? I don't remember. So obviously it's done now. It was 300 experience is not bad. I mean, main quest, you guys have said, is typically the best way to get experience, but 300 is solid. Of course, this was a bit of a stretch level-wise. I think we are, what? We're 19 and that was a level 23 quest, I want to say. And I do see that our boots are currently a little beat up, and you guys were saying that the way to actually know how much things are getting beat up when they're at less than 100% durability is that you will find that number, the red number, next to, in weapons case, the damage icon, or in armor's case, next to the armor icon. So like here, the feline armor is at 6 lower than the value you see in the big white numbers there to the left. So I was expecting for that 120 armor number to actually go down when it gets beat up, but instead it just has that -6 will go down lower if it gets more beat up. But this is the one that is most beat up at the moment. It's at 50% durability. I think it's only losing 2 armor, which is not a huge deal. But we could double check as to whether we have something that's just a little up right here. So I think, yeah, pretty sure that 50% durability is right where it starts to get a bit of a penalty. If we do this, let's double check. It does still say -2. So that does still mean that it didn't really help us at all in that regard. But see, the thing is, even though percentage-wise this is more beat up than our chestplate is, our chestplate is actually losing more armor because it's just a more armor-heavy item. And by armor-heavy, I mean not that it's a heavy armor, because it's not. I mean, it just has a higher armor value. So if we do it on our chestplate, that might actually be more efficient. Yeah, it is. So we gained 6 armor back from doing that, whereas, I mean, at best we're gaining back 2 from repairing our boots. So that's, I think, something that, I mean, if we're really min-maxing, perhaps is a good thing to bear in mind is, yes, we would prefer to prioritize repairing our chestplate and whatever comes next in terms of armor value. My guess is that's probably trousers. 43, 38 for boots, 31 for gloves. I mean, probably pretty similar across those 3 items there, and it just generally depends a bit on what items you have there, and armor is going to be far and away the highest value item there. So, okay. And then we see that, yes, our silver sword is losing a bit there. Losing 14, so do we have any little repair kits there? Because it's not super beat up percentage-wise. We get, yeah, like 40% seems like that's overkill. We had one that also did 19. That seems like that would be a good fit, but maybe we can wait it out a little bit longer on that one. Also, what level is our silver sword? At the moment, that is a level, that's level 18. Yeah, so that's, in theory, something we could still hold on to for a little while longer. Okay. As for what's next, though, I think there are a few options. We can look at some of our secondary quests. I think we've picked up a few of these in some cases, the recent past, but in other cases, things that were just barely out of reach. Things like Fists of Novigrad we couldn't quite finish up before. Do we dare to Dumpling? maybe not just yet, but I think we're getting very close. And then big city players. There's the Scoia'tael person who we've not yet played at Gwent's. I mean, that doesn't have a level next to it in terms of how strong we need to be before we do that, but that's also certainly an option. Deadly plot is to try to assassinate Radovid. You guys are saying that, you know, it wouldn't mean that we immediately murder him. So if we're talking about trying to wait things out a little bit, see how things play out before we do that, then we could still go a little bit further along the lines here in this quest, but if we have other alternatives in this area, then I think we probably still do go for those next. In terms of Witcher contracts, 23 is, yeah, perhaps doable as well. 24, 25, all these ones, that's kind of what I mean, is we have a bunch of things that are level 23, level 24, so 23 might be doable at this stage. Treasure hunts? Where's this one? Thought we did find a silver sword. What? Hold on. Hold on a second. Where are you saying this is? What? What? In Novigrad itself and we did not see it? I'm very surprised. Okay, presumably that is something that we could make happen, perhaps even quickly at that. I'm a little tempted to do that right now, because I feel like we could just do it, get it over with. Because apparently we've had this for a while and we just passed over it entirely. Maybe it was because, did this have a level affiliated with it? Yeah, 23. So we might have been deliberately avoiding that one because we saw the level 23 on it and we said, we're not ready yet. But at least location-wise, it's, yeah, something that seems like that'd be a good fit. The other thing that I'm thinking that we're going to want to do soon is that, yes, we did spend some time looking in the southeastern part of, is technically Novigrad, Velen, not sure at this point, but all these areas over here. And so we did that, and we found a few sections over here, near where we ran into Philippa's hideout, where there are some very high-level enemies, so we were not ready to take those guys out just yet. But we could perhaps go further north and see for these ruins. So we might have just barely checked out these ones here, but they might have also been too high of a level for us. I think that some of these ones, like this, maybe that's the closest of the ones that don't have any markers next to them, that might have still had high-level enemies there. But, like, there's a question mark over here, there's a notice board over here. Seems to be perhaps even some kind of settlements over in this direction. I doubt we can actually go all the way up northeast into that lake-ish area over there. But another notice board here, more question marks. Basically, I think in the northeasternmost sections, there's definitely still some stuff that we've yet to do. So that, I think, is probably what I'm thinking we ought to do next. Some combination of those things. Then once we've done that, I'm thinking after that we start to revisit the main quest, which will take us back into Novigrad for sure, because I think we're getting kind of close to making that happen there, and I feel like we're at least close enough that we're going to start to build a fair bit of momentum there, where once we revisit it, we're going to want to try to see it all the way out till the end, because it's going to feel strange to step away from it at that stage. So let's do this one here in Novigrad, and then I think we'll start to do some of the other stuff that's a little bit more in the wilderness, so to speak. And there are, in theory, some places to upgrade our stuffs right around here. And I did not ask Carol to do those rolls, but okay. And nor was that really the place where I was expecting Carol to climb up. Okay, here we go. This. And that. Just want to make sure that we're not accidentally looting something right in front of all those Nilfgaardians. Okay, so next we go to this fast travel spot here, and I don't know if we're actually going to run into whatever the level 23 enemy is that presumably is the thing that this quest item level, or level I should say, is based off of. Or have we already done whatever that was? What is the deal here?
No loitering round here. Look over
That doesn't look good.
Where are you scurrying to, Rich? Let's see your pass.
What?
Pass. What pass?
Kind of pass confirms you ain't no mage.
Oh.
Can't enter or leave Novigrad without it.
What? Since when? What's with the lockdown? Does this have to do with us talking to Radovid?
Why have you
I
shut
feel like
the
it
city
does.
gates?
So's we can clean it of mages, witches, and other scum that's crawled here since the war began.
Okay.
Aim to
Yeah.
catch every last one of them, toss them on a flaming pyre like poxy livestock.
Okay. Yeah, you know, this is the kind of thing that we were perhaps expecting Radovid to try to do if he were to get a bit more control over the city, and yeah, it seems as though he's found a way to make it happen. Even without people like Menge in there, of course, we did take him out. But yeah, we don't
Sorry,
exactly have
Don't
one of
have a
those.
pass.
You'll scurry no further then. Next!
Hang on. How do I get one?
Yeah,
Start
that's kind
by
of important.
making an offering to the church.
Oh,
then you'll need
really?
3 pure souls to confirm.
Let him through. Here's his papers.
What? But when?
Not
Huh?
your concern. Back to your post.
Someone tells me
Regards
that's...
from Siggy Reuven.
Oh! Eternal Fire Letter of Safe Conduct. For a second, I thought that was going to be Doo-Doo. I thought it was going to be our Doppler friend taking the shape of one of the guard captains or officers and basically bossing people around to help us out. But no, apparently Siggy's pulling some strings for us, so thank you very much, Siggy. To whom it may concern, let it be known that the bearer of the present document may enter and leave the free city of Novigrad at will, both during the day and at night, and shall for no reason be perturbed, harmed, harassed, or molested in any way. His Holiness, Hierarch Hamilfart. Okay. So yeah, does seem as though things have certainly happened since we last got here, and don't know to what extent that means we should just look at the city like it's new and just like cover every corner and say there could be new stuff we've not yet seen. I think that's maybe not so much what we want to do as much as we want to try to see if we can get more direct indications from people that we are looking to go to a specific location. So this is where the item is, in theory, in this building. This is still locked, though. It's not... I mean, it looked like it was in this building. We've spoken to this loan shark guy before, but yeah, the indicator's just a little bit to the side. Does it actually... Oh, hold on. Is it up here, maybe? Maybe it's up here. I was thinking that perhaps it would be through that locked door, but... Can we do this? Okay, hold on. Now, I don't think we've been here before. Probably did not think to go up that staircase. Should I be concerned that, like we were saying before, this is supposed to be a level 23 quest, and we may not have fought any enemies yet for this one, and therefore perhaps that means there's going to be a level 23 enemy in these people's home? I don't know. I don't know. It does still... it does still look like it's not quite in this building. Maybe we're getting close. Oh, no. That's it. Right there. Oh, that's the enhanced silver sword. Enhanced feline silver sword. I was going to say, I thought we found the normal silver sword diagram down in the ruins not long ago. So it's surprised to see that this also said feline silver sword. Made me think that perhaps for some reason we missed that one, even though I'm pretty darn sure that we picked it up. But yeah, a better version of it, that could be something that's worth... Whoa! I have no idea how big of a drop that was. It felt like it was a very long one. I think we may have just lucked out. We probably should have broken our ankles, if not more, in that instance there. We've certainly dropped from much smaller heights and had a similar effect. So... I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious to see what other changes there might be. Like, there might be more guards here. It does seem like that's kind of a thing. But I'm not necessarily sure we want to do that right now. As I said, I think we'll definitely make a point of revisiting the plays the thing, talking to Priscilla, once we do want to more or less do the rest of the main quest in Novigrad. But I think for now, while we are waiting for that, why don't we do side quests first? And let's just double check. This guy Scoia'tael person is not in the city directly, but they're somewhat close. They're like just south of it, right? Yeah. So that might be worth doing now, I'm thinking. And then we'll start to do everything over to the north and east of the city after that. Because this is one of the few things, I think there are perhaps some Witcher contracts that are still in this area that we'd ideally like to pick up 1 or 2 more levels before doing, but yeah, let's do this guy now. Let's do this. So that means we want a fast travel location somewhere, and I do think we're close to one of the gates. Is it out here? Yeah, it is out here. Okay. Should mean there's a fast travel location right over here. Now, I assume that based now we have that pass that we can go back in and out of the city whenever we want. That seemed to be what it was saying. So I think we're okay with leaving here. It's not like we need to do everything in Novigrad now, otherwise we'll never be able to return. Obviously, that would be pretty bad if that was the case. But let's do this next. The other thing is, actually, come to think of it, there were, not over here, but by the port side and Glory Gate, I think it was over here, there were a bunch of, what was it, like minstrels in this area here, and it's a large group of them. And yet, we tried speaking to them, they didn't really have anything to say to us at the time. This was, I think, before we even went into the main section of the city of Novigrad. So I do wonder if perhaps now that we've done a bit more in Novigrad, if we could talk to those people and have something happen. So maybe we check that out after we're done speaking to and playing Gwent with this person here. So it's basically directly to the south. Just pretty sure I was pressing the back button and it was insisting on us looking back at the map there. So that's a little odd, but okay. Do we? Oh, that's just. I'm sure we'll take the herbs. Why not? So let's follow this path, and we might run into neckers or something like that. I don't think we're expecting too much crazy along the way. Or we may find that we more or less just immediately make it to the Scoia'tael camp. So maybe not. Okay, so who is the person we're looking for? It appears to perhaps be you, the merchant?
Greetings, Gwynblade. Would you like to trade?
Pretty sure that we must have seen you before. Yeah, I remember trading with you. We just, for some reason, decided not to play you at Gwent, or maybe that might have been before we went into the actual city of Novigrad, and therefore might have been that it wasn't even an option at the time. We technically hadn't started this quest yet.
You
The
play
big city
Gwent?
players.
Do you really have no one else to play with?
What's
Always
that
nice
supposed to
play
mean?
Someone new.
Fine. Beggars can't be choosers after all. I'll play you, and even stake one of my unique cards.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what the big city players seem to be all about, so let's do it.
Pull out your cards.
Okay, so I know this is a Scoia'tael person we are playing against here, but we probably do still stick with Northern Realms here, because that has been our far and away most effective deck thus far. And what did we get here? So we have a decoy, that's pretty strong. Dandelion is also good. At least one spy, that's strong. Blue Stripes Commando is good if we find that we're able to get a second one of them, which, well, we may not have that. We do have 2 of these guys. These are the other units that get doubled when we have 2 of them, so that's good. Vesemir is a little lackluster. Yennefer is one of our heroes, so she cannot be affected by any special cards, but she does have fairly high base strength, and also is a medic, so she can bring people back from our discard pile. Catapult is our strongest siege unit, though we actually don't have many of those right now. That is one of the most notable things of our current hand. And Philippa is one of our other heroes. She goes in the range row, higher base strength, but cannot bring people back from the discard pile. So, yeah, we do have our leader ability that allows us to double the siege row, except we've almost no siege cards at all right now, which does mean that our leader ability is doing almost nothing for us. So you are our worst card if we do not have your pair. So I think we definitely reroll you. Get a second decoy, which is debatable as to whether we can make use of 2 of them. One of them we can almost always make happen. You know, if our opponent plays a spy, we can steal it. That's good, but chances of our opponent playing 2 spies are not terribly high. So I think our next worst card is probably Vesemir. 6 base strength. Otherwise, if we do have serious doubts about the effectiveness, of our second decoy, that could be something we change here. Could make the case that having Vesemir is not a terrible idea because we do have Dandelion, who is a melee row person and doubles other people in the melee row, and the only other person who would get doubled by that right now would be Vesemir. So, tell you what, I think our worst card in this case is actually the second decoy. Of course, it's speculative. We don't know if we would have the opportunity to take advantage of the second one or not, but as things currently stand, we don't really have reason to suspect that we could. So I think picking up a Trebuchet, another strong siege card, when we had a lack of those before, is not bad at all. Okay, so you have this guy who has 6 strength in the melee row. I do, as I've said before, typically tend to prefer playing our spy first. That way we get to know which cards we're going to have available to us as early as possible, and we get another Commander's Horn here. So between our leader ability for Commander's Horning our siege row, Dandelion for doing that in the melee row, and then this Commander's Horn here, we could double every row. But the other card that we drew was, I believe, this guy here, the Ballista, so more siege units. So, okay, does make our leader ability stronger. My hope was that the other thing we've seen sometimes is that when we lead off with the spy, sometimes our opponent goes, oh man, we have an early lead, I'm just going to pass. And then we can say, okay, well, sure, in that case, we'll just proceed to play just enough cards to win the round, and puts us in a decent place going forward. However, they did, of course, choose to play more cards, and they did play ones with that muster ability that allows them to draw cards from their deck and play cards from their hand that have that same name. So, at the moment, I wasn't eyeing their card counts closely enough to see whether any of these guys came from their hand, in which case that does mean that their hand is even smaller than before, or their deck. I think they came from their deck, so does mean that they, added a little bit more strength to the equation. Question we should be asking ourselves is, do we intend to win this round here? Or would we rather, say, bide our time and save our strongest cards for round 2 and 3? I think we have to bear in mind, we do have Yennefer, and she is a medic, so she will be able to bring one person back from our discard pile. Therefore, if we want to play Yennefer in the second round, we want to at least have one person in the discard pile, otherwise her medic ability is useless to us. So that means I think we go with either our range or our melee row. I think our melee row is actually the worst right now. So let's lead off with Dandelion here because he only has 2 strength. So he is definitely not scorchable in this instance. Not doubling anyone at the moment, but it does mean that Vesemir is likely next on our list. And Gavin 6 strength is a fairly strong card that they just played, so I'm thinking that we'll continue to play cards here, at least for a little while longer. Although I am thinking that we are deliberately going to pass a little bit on the early side and let them win this one. So like if you want to nerf melee row like that, then sure, we weren't planning on playing any other melee cards this turn because we don't have any, but we could decoy and take someone like Dandelion back. However, Dandelion, his key strength is that he doubles other units in the melee row, and we wouldn't have any other melee cards other than Dandelion in that instance, so not terribly valuable to us in that case. Vesemir probably would be better to bring back if we were to use our decoy here, but 6 strength unit without the unit we were going to use to double him is... it's something. It is something, but might we be better served holding onto our decoy and saving it for, like we're saying before, maybe stealing our opponent's spy if they happen to play one of those, or some other purpose later on? Maybe. We do have a 3-card advantage right now, so that is pretty sizable. So I'm feeling okay about this. I do think that, all in all, our opponent has certainly invested a lot more in this round than we have, what with them playing this 6 strength card here, and this 6 strength card here, at least was initially a 6 strength card, and then a little bit of muster as well. They may still have some powerful cards remaining, don't get me wrong here, but I think that we still have an advantage in rounds 2 and 3. So hopefully that will be enough for us to win in rounds 2 and 3, but we'll just have to see. Whoa! Okay, they have 15 strength card, which is the most we've ever seen before, at least in terms of starting value, and it's Ciri. Okay. So, I suppose that's perhaps fitting, but that does make it a bit difficult to beat you, because that's a lot. So we could go with Yennefer, and with Yennefer, we could bring back Vesemir, and that would be in total 13 strength across the two of them, which means we wouldn't quite be caught up to our opponent, but would be close. We also would technically still have the highest valued Scorchable enemy there, because although Ciri would have the highest power, yes, she is a hero and therefore is not affected by Scorch. Yennefer would be the next highest in our range row. She'd be 7, but she's also a hero, so she's invulnerable. That would make Vesemir the highest value unit that can actually be Scorch. So if our opponent has a Scorch, it would still remove Vesemir. So for that reason, it might be preferable for us to wait it out a little bit here. I mean, any card we play other than a hero would get Scorched. So maybe for that reason we lead off with Philippa? Basically, we just want our opponent to be the first person to play something other than a hero. And yeah, they might just pass early and basically say, yeah, I can get 15 strength in one turn. Try to beat me. And so, well played in that regard. That was kind of my thought process of going with Yennefer into Vesemir first turn, was get as much strength out as quickly as we possibly can. But now, what is our best course of action here? Problem is, we don't have many cards. I mean, we could go with a siege card, and that would be just enough for us to take the round 2 victory here with only having to sacrifice one more card. That is ideal in that sense. The reason why I'm hesitant to do that is because, of course, our leader ability does double the siege row, so we want to be able to save as many of those cards as possible so that we can take most advantage of that leader ability. We will, of course, draw a card when we win a round. That's our Northern Realms ability. So maybe that can sort of be our justification for doing it here. And otherwise, we're going to have to play 2 cards, and that's probably worse than having a slightly less than opportune siege card play. So let's just stick with this one here. Go with the 1 strength victory in round 2. But yeah, that was a scary card there, the 15 strength Ciri. So we did draw one more card, and we did get, I believe it was our second Ballista here, so we did get another siege card. So we lucked out in that sense. And this time, I suppose, does mean that unless our opponent plays a spy here, we may not have much of anything to use our decoy on, which maybe was all the more reason for us to have gotten rid of our second one that we initially had, that we swapped out. So I think we do want to start with something relatively weak, again, in case our opponent wants to lead off with a Scorch. That way we're relatively safe. So I'm thinking we may even want to start off with a Commander's Horn. And if we do that, then we're going to want to play it in, I think it's going to be the range row, because although we have Yennefer there, she's not going to be affected by it. These guys will, and they will double each other into 10 apiece. So in total, they will have 20 strength. In the range row, we double it with a Commander's Horn. That bumps us up to 40, and that's not bad at all. So I think we go with that. Of course, if we were to use Yennefer, we could bring back, I think, probably the siege card that we played last round, and then we can still have as many siege cards as possible to double with our leader ability, so then don't have to worry too much about that either. I think that's what I'm thinking is the best way to go here. So let's actually lead off with that Commander's Horn. That way, we aren't playing any cards in the first round. Again, that means our opponent will presumably play cards first, so that if they have a Scorch, they will be the ones getting Scorched, not us. But once more, they lead off with the leader, a hero, so it doesn't mean that we are any safer from Scorches than we were before. So we would like, for that reason, to perhaps throw down our leader here, except although she'll be safe from Scorches, whoever we bring back, namely Vesemir or the Trebuchet, would not be. So it's not great, but we don't have many alternatives. We want to make sure that both these guys stay alive, because if one of them goes down, they become significantly weaker, because they no longer double each other. So I think we actually do. I think we actually do prefer to go Yennefer into the Trebuchet. And if you scorch away the Trebuchet, then so be it. And there is the Scorch. There it is, as anticipated. So, I mean, good that we didn't have multiple 6 strength cards out there when you did use the Scorch. That could have been the case, because we certainly could have had that happen. Could have perhaps used our leader ability next and doubled the siege row, and that means that we, again, would have had one more turn before they would have considered playing the Scorch, because we wouldn't have had any units out there. But might have just meant that we were walking ourselves into an even more dangerous Scorch, in which we'd have even more of our units go down. Now, it's probably a pretty safe bet that they won't have any more Scorches. I suppose it is theoretically possible, so maybe we do continue to play Siege next. Again, the thought there being that although we do want as many Siege cards as possible, and there is a second Scorch. So yes, I think still a good thing that we did that, because even though we do want as many Siege cards as possible, the downside of losing one of these guys is that we lose 12 strength. Whereas if we lose one of these guys, we go down from 40 strength in the range row to 10. So we lose 30. So that's a big deal. So let's continue to go with the same thought process here. If you have 3 Scorches, I will be astonished. We only have 2 cards remaining. This guy, who can play in either row. That's one thing, is that, sure, you deleted a bunch of our cards, yes. However, you did also not get the chance to play much on your end here, so you do still have a slight lead, but we could use our leader ability here, but I think that because you now have a 6 strength card, that means that a Scorch would remove both our siege unit and the card you just played. That means that one of these guys would be safe. Oh, except he gets doubled from Commander's Horn, so he's not safe. But you don't have any Scorches remaining, just 2. Still a lot, but not 3 Scorches. That would have been insane. So we actually still have a lead already, so let's play this guy here. As we were saying, that doubling there is what is our real strength here. And then the siege row, not bad either, especially once we start to use our leader ability there. And if we really wanted to, could use decoy, but as it turns out, doesn't do us much good at all. So yeah, in hindsight, definitely a good thing that we got rid of our second one that we were considering using before. But let's end this one here. And there we have it. Alright.
Damn it all, I'd so hoped for victory. Alas, so be it. We've won the card fair and square.
Alright, and what is that card? And that should be us completing this quest here. I think you were the last person for us to face, unless there's actually someone else. Oh, is it Ciri? It looks like it was Ciri. And Francesca Findabair, I think, is a leader on the Scoia'tael side. So perhaps 2 cards.
I still don't know why we tolerate your presence.
Well, I'm sorry. Give me just a second to check out those cards, though. Let's see. So, I do think one was Ciri, who, yes, is a 15 strength leader, so does mean that we had a couple of 10 strength leaders. She's just an objectively better version of those cards, so I think we had, what was it, Roach was a 10 strength unit. Yennefer is also a leader. However, she's, like we were saying before, different in that she's slightly lower power, for sure, but she is also medic, which does probably mean that in most circumstances, she is better, because our other leaders have 10 base strength, Yennefer has 7, and then as long as you can bring back someone who has 3 or more base strength, then she's worth more than 10. So it's really Roach or Philippa who I think would be the ones that we'd get rid of here. And I say get rid of because we've said this before, but I'm under the impression that although leaders, yes, do certainly have strong base power, there is perhaps a limit to the number that you want to put in your deck, because you can't double them with things like Commander's Horns or your leader ability. So there's downside in that sense. You also can't use things like decoys to bring them back into your hand. You also can't revive them if they go down. On the plus side, they can't get scorched. But I think that ultimately it's a balance, and it's largely up to a matter of personal preference, perhaps, at least to a certain extent. But if we were to throw every hero into our deck, then I think we would be at a point where it would be difficult for us to make that work. So let's get rid of Roach, and then throw in, yeah, like we'd gotten rid of this guy previously under that same logic. So let's just throw in Ciri instead of Roach, because, again, Ciri is objectively just a better version. And then think we got a Francesca Findabair, and yes, she is a leader. So how do we... There's a separate... Yeah. Separate option to change our leader here. I don't know as to which version exactly we just got, because I'm not sure we've done as much to check when we picked up new leader cards here. So the first one would be pick up Binding Frost card from your deck and play it instantly. I believe that is the melee nerf. Does still mean that you need it in your deck, you just can play it whenever you want. Then this one would be draw an extra card at the beginning of the battle. That sounds very good. This one doubles the strength of all your ranged combat units unless Commander's Horn is also present in that row. So basically, the ranged row version of what we've been doing with our Northern Realms deck. I'm guessing this is the one that we just picked up because, well, it's the furthest to the right. And then these ones are locked here. Destroy your enemy's strongest close combat units if the combined strength of all his or her close combat units is 10 or more. Yeah, situationally, could be quite strong. Move agile units to whichever valid row maximizes their strength. Don't move units already in optimal row. That's nifty. So if you play them in one row, and then say your opponent nerfs that row, then you could play this leader ability here and swap them over. Situational again, but potentially another useful card to have. So that is something that we could consider doing in the future. That's such a strong card. 10 strength and a medic. Oh no, it's not medic, it's +1 to all units in the row, excluding self, but still so good. So yeah, we are getting closer to being able to play effective decks from other factions. I mean, Ciri is a card that you can play in any faction, so in that sense, yes, she is helping for Scoia'tael, it's just that she's equally effective in Northern Realms, so if Northern Realms was better to begin with, then adding Ciri to Scoia'tael is not doing anything to make Scoia'tael any better relative to Northern Realms, if you know what I mean. Whereas our leader card that we just picked up from Francesca Findabair, that one might have been something that might have allowed Scoia'tael to catch up a little bit to Northern Realms. So, I know we've been saying that for a while, but yeah, we could perhaps entertain the thoughts, at least soon, if not already, of playing with a different deck. So, then the other thing I think we were saying that we wanted to do was, now not so much a quest as much as we just wanted to explore in precisely the opposite direction of where we were going there. So yeah, I want to see if there's anything at all to do about those minstrels. I don't exactly know how to describe them. Were they actors? They might have been. It was a while ago that we last saw them. They also, I think we may have saw that they were only out... Ooh, what's that? Alright. Really? Oh, there's a lot of them. Okay. I suppose that is typically the case, yes, but I will admit, I did not see you coming. I will give you that much. Also, was really hoping to get both of you with that. Oh, wait, there are 2 of you? What? I think that's all of them. Oh, and apparently we have not used our skill point from leveling up. I don't know, maybe. I feel like we did, but let's just double check that one. Because I feel like I'm seeing that indicator there. So, let's do this. Let's double check. I think what happened is we were taking, what was it? Was it another Igni? Did we lose that for some reason? Oh, and we actually, yeah, didn't we have second spot for one of our close combat abilities? Maybe we were saying, let's throw in this guy here, which is our strength attack boost. And because those are all red abilities here on a red mutagen, this is making our plus 40% attack power rated red mutagen very effective. But in terms of actually using our skill, I thought that we'd gone with another Igni, if I'm not mistaken. So why don't we go with that one? Just make that a bit stronger there. So it does mean that, well, we'll be melting people's armor even more. Okay. And then we head over in this direction. And we see what the deal is. Are there still people here? think it's basically this stage right here.
Are there better times ahead for
Amelia?
ascension?
I mean, you have a name. What? That's Amelia and that's Amelia? What? What gives? Also, there's apparently loot here. I don't think anyone got mad at us for taking this one. Let's dump them. Yeah, basically all these people here. What is the deal? You? You also have a name. So, I don't know if ultimately... Oh, that really looked like that sign symbol was directly on top of you, and I was like, are we supposed to destroy you right now? This game telling us to murder you in cold blood? Kinda seemed like it for a second there. But yeah, I do wonder if maybe we're gonna run into some other quests that explicitly direct... How many freaking Amelias are there? But, yeah, are we gonna run into some kind of quest that says to us, make a point to talk to these people, and this is just us happening to come across them before we are ready to truthfully meet them? Maybe? Because it does seem like, well, we have a bunch of people who I would have thought might have something to say to us, and yet they don't have anything to say to us. So, yeah. I think good to double check, but maybe we're just not quite ready to do that at this stage. So, in that case, just ignore the vicious cat, and we'll go to this fast travel location here, and we could, I mean, I was thinking we would go do the exploration in the north and east areas, but maybe it's worth just doing a quick double check as to what else we might want to do here, because I think we are really close by to the fighting quest. Where was that one? Is it Fist of Fury? Yeah. This one is like right in this area. We did it when we were level 18. We weren't quite capable of making it happen, but maybe one more level is all it takes there. It was close. I vaguely remember that we got like stuck on some kind of like signpost behind us and we couldn't move out of the way of the enemy's attack, so we got pinned in that sense. Maybe if that doesn't happen this time, then we could also find ourselves have a little more success for that reason as well. So I think that's maybe not out of the question. There's something to be said for being in the general area of that, but maybe it's worth just exploring a little bit more and ideally picking up one more level before we try to do that. Or where exactly is this one? Oh, is this the Witcher contract with the wyverns way down to the south that we saw that had some people trapped in a cave that said, please save us, we're about to get eaten alive, and then we just turned around and ran because we were not strong enough to take them out? I think so. There's also this question mark over here. We definitely have not explored? That's intriguing. That's kind of intriguing. I want to check that out. I think there is certainly, if we could just like go to this fast travel location here. Oh, we're not at a fast travel location? Oh. We were standing right in front of the fast travel location, but we technically weren't at one. My apologies. So, yeah, I feel like there's certainly a non-zero chance that this is, that little question mark over there is going to be something that is not the best level for us, fit-wise. Oh.
Might want to look around some.
Have we actually gone in here yet? I don't remember if this was the place where those wyverns were, if this was an entirely different place. So yeah, I have no recollection as to whether or not we've gone in here or not. That does mean, that symbol there, that there should have been a Witcher school diagram in here somewhere. Which would suggest that we should have a quest affiliated with this, which means that we should know that there is something here. And because we were just looking at our quest previously, the fact that this chest is, well, not looted would suggest that we've not yet been here. So, that might mean that we deliberately were avoiding it because we thought that we were not ready for it yet. So I think we at least short term, got the thing that was perhaps most useful for us, that diagram there. And, well, except maybe that means that if we've done the thing that there was initially a quest here for, and now what? Oh, there's something behind us. Whoa, 18 round dead. Wow, that is strong. And we're hitting you pretty hard, yes, but I guess you hit us pretty hard too. Okay. Didn't really see that one coming. Snuck up on me pretty well there. Those sound like Intrigas. I'm actually kind of intrigued about. So if we have other level 18-ish enemies, and that's actually kind of a good fit for us. I mean, sure, we don't really need to fight random enemies, but we find, like, special kinds of Intrigas, or Kikimores. Kikimore workers, maybe not that enticing. I was going to say, if we find some new ones that we've not yet fought before, then maybe that could be a good learning experience for us. That was dangerous. Let's just save before we go in here, just in case we do find that, yes, we knew this place existed. We were deliberately avoiding it because we thought it was going to be too high of a level for us. That level 18 Drowned Dead, which would normally be a just random enemy in here, perhaps an indication that other enemies will be stronger than that. That also sounds like Kikimore, something of, or Intriga, something of that sort, a big one at that. Feel like we could be getting ourselves into trouble here. We definitely could be, but that's the idea of the save, right? Just to play it safe a bit. And this looks like a pretty big area. This is the area that we sort of saw when we went in the other direction. Might have been. Another chest over there. Buried in here. Knight's gauntlets. I mean, although that didn't look like a very strong item, stuff we picked here, if it's a high level, well, 9 and 16 is not bad. That is actually higher than our current armor. Though, partially because our current armor is a little bit beat up. And it is comparing medium versus light, which we may not want to do. May not want to throw on the medium. This one's obviously not going to be any good, what with being level 9 armor. Normal rarity. But I am intrigued. I absolutely hear stuff. It just was actually just the enemies above us that we're hearing. Is that it? Is this the way out? In which case, we actually just explored everything in here? Wait, that was weird. The way the camera angle changed on me there. I did not move the controller at all in that instance. We tried going down this path here. Because yeah, there are just a bunch of little forks in the path. They are ultimately, seemingly, all leading to the same place. That big room that we saw those chests in. So, I think that we've actually gotten everything in here. So I think that's good, because I was concerned about us picking up the chest plate, or well, not the chest plate, open up the chest, I should say. Getting the diagram, and then that would remove the quest from our quest list. And then we'd think, oh, there's no more reason to go in this area. And then we'd miss whatever else might have been deeper in the cave. But we now know there's nothing else deeper in the cave.